50 Cent has just executed what might be the most cold-blooded, calculating, and devastating psychological strike in the history of hip-hop culture. For nearly 2 decades, we have watched these two titans trade financial insults and legal threats, but absolutely no one was prepared for the explosive footage that just leaked out of Beverly Hills. Right now, a shocking video is tearing through the internet like wildfire, showing Rick Ross's longtime baby mama on an unrestricted, multi-million-dollar luxury shopping spree down Rodeo Drive. And the man holding the black Amex card, smiling directly at the paparazzi? Curtis 50 Cent Jackson himself. This wasn't just a casual encounter, it was a public execution of pride designed to completely dismantle Rick Ross's biggest boss persona. The reaction from the Maybach music camp has been instant panic and pure fury, with insider reports claiming an unhinged Rick Ross is already assembling a legal army to file a massive harassment lawsuit. But what Ross doesn't know yet is that this shopping spree was just a distraction for a much darker, hidden trap. You need to stay until the very end of this video, because the secret contract 50 Cent just signed behind closed doors changes everything, and it is about to bring Ross's entire empire crashing down. To understand why this Beverly Hills shopping spree is being labeled as a psychological execution, you have to look past the glitz and the designer bags and dive into the toxic, 15-year-long war zone that is the history between 50 Cent and Rick Ross. This isn't just about rap beef. It's about a scorched earth rivalry where the objective was never to win a trophy. It was to erase the other man's credibility entirely. The roots of this animosity date back to 2008, a time when 50 Cent was the untouchable king of the industry, and Rick Ross was the ambitious newcomer trying to carve out his own throne. It started with a subtle, dismissive glance at the BET Hip Hop Awards, but within months, it had morphed into a full-scale battle for the soul of hip-hop's boss archetype. 50 Cent, a master of tactical warfare, didn't just challenge Ross's bars, he challenged his DNA. He famously unearthed documents proving that William Leonard Roberts II, the man who built an empire on the persona of a Miami drug lord, had actually served as a correctional officer. For years, 50 Cent hammered this narrative into the public consciousness, turning the name Officer Ricky into a permanent scar on Ross's brand. But the friction didn't stay in the booth. As Ross pivoted toward his biggest boss identity, buying luxury estates and branding himself as a billionaire-adjacent mogul, 50 Cent transitioned into something far more dangerous, a master of financial humiliation. Think back to 2009. 50 Cent flew out Tia Kemp, the mother of Ross's son, to New York, gave her a platform, and effectively used her to dismantle Ross's claim to authenticity. It was a move that left a permanent bruise on their co-parenting relationship and set a precedent for how far 50 was willing to go. He made it clear, he didn't care about the consequences of a lawsuit, the cost of a legal battle, or the social fallout. As long as Rick Ross was losing, 50 Cent was winning. The stakes shifted drastically in 2015 when 50 Cent filed for bankruptcy. Rick Ross, never one to miss an opportunity to strike a wounded enemy, ridiculed 50 Cent across every platform he could find. He mocked 50's real estate, joked about him living in a 2-bedroom apartment, and consistently painted him as a washed-up celebrity holding onto past glory. Ross believed he had finally won. He thought that by labeling 50 as broke, he had secured his status as the superior businessman. But what Ross failed to realize was that 50 Cent is a man who thrives in the shadows of a crisis. For the last several years, while Ross was busy building the Promised Land in Georgia and hosting multi-million-dollar car shows, 50 Cent was building his own quiet, surgical revenge. This Beverly Hills incident is the culmination of a decade of planning. By taking Ross's baby mama shopping, 50 Cent isn't just acting out of pettiness. He is completing a cycle. He is showing the world that the man who claimed 50 was broke is now helpless to prevent 50 from spending his own money on the people closest to Ross. It is a masterclass in irony. Every designer bag, every flash of the credit card, and every coordinated paparazzi leak is a deliberate, calculated reminder to Rick Ross. I am always watching, I am always relevant, and I can touch your world whenever I choose. The industry knows that this level of behavior isn't normal. It's calculated, it's cold, and it's deeply personal. The fans are watching because they sense that this time, the rules of engagement have been permanently shattered. This isn't just a beef anymore, it is a total siege. The intersection of absolute luxury and devastating betrayal happened on a blazing afternoon in Beverly Hills. Rodeo Drive was packed with high-profile tourists and relentless paparazzi, all hunting for the next big celebrity sighting. But nothing could have prepared the crowd for the sheer chaos that was about to unfold at exactly 3 o'clock. A custom, matte black luxury SUV with heavily tinted windows pulled up smoothly to the curb outside the exclusive VIP entrance of Hermes. The doors opened, and stepping out into the California sun was Curtis, 50 Cent, Jackson, sporting a casual black designer hoodie and a razor-sharp, triumphant smile. But the crowd completely stopped breathing when the passenger side door swung open. Stepping out right beside him, laughing and dressed in head-to-toe high fashion, was Rick Ross's longtime baby mama, the woman who holds the deepest, most classified secrets of the Maybach music empire. This was not a hidden affair. It was a highly orchestrated, public execution of pride. According to leaked insider reports from inside the boutique, 50 Cent walked her through the private lounges of Gucci, Chanel, and Louis Vuitton, instructing the staff to bring out the rarest, most expensive items available. Witnesses claim 50 Cent casually handed over his Black American Express Centurion card, dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars on custom jewelry, exotic leather handbags, and luxury apparel without looking at a single price tag. He wasn't just financing a shopping spree. He was intentionally standing near the glass windows, allowing the paparazzi to capture every single moment of this financial humiliation. Within minutes, short clips and blurry smartphone photos flooded TikTok and Instagram, triggering a digital earthquake that shook the entire hip-hop industry to its absolute core. Meanwhile, over 2,000 miles away in Atlanta, Georgia, the atmosphere inside Rick Ross's 109-room mansion, the Promised Land, turned violently chaotic. Sources close to the Maybach music camp reveal that Ross was relaxing poolside when his manager frantically ran out, holding a phone displaying the live Beverly Hills leaks. The reaction from the self-proclaimed biggest boss was instantaneous and terrifying. In a fit of blind, unadulterated fury, Rick Ross reportedly stood up, let out a deafening shout, and shattered a premium crystal champagne glass directly against the marble pillars of his estate. The illusion of his absolute control had just been shattered on a global stage. The psychological weight of seeing your most bitter, historical rival casually spending a fortune on the mother of your children is a level of disrespect that no amount of rap bars can fix. The crisis escalated immediately into a private digital war as leaked text messages began circulating among industry insiders. Ross reportedly fired off a series of toxic, panic-stricken text messages directly to his ex reading, "You have completely crossed the line. You are sleeping with the enemy just to destroy the legacy I built for this family. This is an act of war, and my lawyers are going to make sure you pay for this betrayal. Enjoy the bags because they're going to cost you everything." But the response he received back was cold and completely unbothered, proving that she was no longer under his influence. She reportedly replied with a single, devastating sentence, "You should have paid your bills instead of worrying about mine." As the internet erupted into a frenzy of memes and wild speculation, everyone assumed this was just another classic, petty internet stunt by 50 Cent to trend for 48 hours. But this is exactly where the story takes its first, most terrifying twist. This Beverly Hills shopping excursion was not a date, and it wasn't just a simple publicity stunt. Shocking internal documents leaked from a high-profile entertainment law firm reveal that 50 Cent did not just buy her designer clothes, he bought her complete allegiance. Behind closed doors, Rick Ross's baby mama officially signed a multi-million-dollar, exclusive production contract with G-Unit Film and Television. She has legally agreed to head a massive, multi-part investigative documentary series titled The Illusion of the Boss. This series is designed to completely strip away Rick Ross's luxury facade. It will feature never-before-seen financial disclosures, private bank records, details about his ongoing 2025 and 2026 tax executions, and the hidden truth behind who actually owns his famous luxury car collection and his mega mansion. 50 Cent didn't just enter Ross's personal life. He legally weaponized the one person who knows where all of Ross's financial bodies are buried. The Maybach Music Group legal team is currently in a state of absolute panic, frantically drafting a $50 million emergency injunction to block the production and threatening a historic, scorched earth lawsuit against 50 Cent for targeted harassment, stalking, and corporate sabotage. Ross is desperately trying to use the legal system to protect his fragile empire from collapsing. But as the smoke clears over this initial explosion, a second, even more sinister detail has just surfaced about the Beverly Hills shopping spree, a detail that proves 50 Cent's trap is already 10 steps ahead of Ross's lawyers, leaving the entire hip-hop community asking, can Rick Ross actually survive the next 24 hours? The digital wildfire sparked by that Beverly Hills video did not just trend, it completely paralyzed the entire hip-hop landscape. Within 2 hours, the hashtag #RodeoDriveRevenge reached the #1 trending spot globally on X, racking up an unprecedented 4 million tweets in a single afternoon. The internet was no longer just watching a rap beef. They were witnessing a live, corporate execution of a man's entire legacy. Major streamers and hip-hop commentators were losing their minds live on camera. DJ Academics went live to an audience of over 100,000 screaming viewers, pounding his desk and shouting, "This is the end of the boss era." 50 Cent didn't just cross the line, he erased it. Ross is trapped in his own house, screaming at his lawyers, while his baby mama is buying out Rodeo Drive on G-Unit's tab. The reactions from the industry's elite only poured more gasoline onto the absolute inferno. A leaked screenshot from a private hip-hop group chat showed major artists completely stunned by the sheer audacity of the move. Even Drake, who has been locked in his own Cold War with Rick Ross, subtly weighed in by dropping a highly calculated like on the viral video of the shopping spree, sending a silent but devastating message to the world. Prominent hip-hop insider accounts began posting rapid-fire breakdowns of the internal chaos. One viral tweet from @RapAlert2026 stated, "Insiders claim MMG executives are frantically calling emergency meetings. Brands are pulling back. You cannot market yourself as the ultimate financial mastermind when your bitterest rival is financing your family's luxury lifestyle in broad daylight. The optics are absolutely fatal." And that is exactly where the corporate panic set in. This wasn't just a blow to Rick Ross's pride. It was a cataclysmic event for his commercial interests. High-level corporate sponsors and distribution partners who back Ross's luxury liquor ventures and franchise operations reportedly began contacting his management team with extreme urgency. The biggest boss image is a multi-million-dollar machine, but that machine completely stalls when the public perception shifts from awe to absolute mockery. Insiders report that 2 major global brands are already reviewing their multi-million-dollar endorsement contracts with Ross, terrified of being dragged into a toxic, highly publicized family legal war. Ross's empire was bleeding credibility by the second, and his legal team's desperate threats of a $50 million lawsuit felt like throwing a cup of water at a volcanic eruption. But just as the internet thought the drama had reached its absolute peak, a second far more sinister and unexpected reveal leaked from a highly classified forensic financial audit that completely flips this entire narrative on its head. This is the moment that will leave you absolutely breathless. Everyone believed 50 Cent was using his own television millions to bankroll this massive Beverly Hills shopping spree just to prove a point. But according to a bombshell leak from an anonymous whistleblower inside a major banking institution, the Black American Express Centurion card used on Rodeo Drive was not funded by 50 Cent's personal wealth. The reality is a million times more twisted. The financial documents reveal that the account 50 Cent used was legally tied to a hidden corporate subsidiary that 50 Cent's legal team quietly acquired last month, a subsidiary that manages the back-end royalty distributions and catalog licensing for early Maybach Music Group projects. Because of an overlooked, predatory clause in an old corporate settlement that Rick Ross signed during his previous financial battles, his baby mama still held a dormant executive signature right over those specific distribution pools. 50 Cent discovered this loophole, activated her executive power, and used it to unlock those exact funds. 50 Cent did not spend a single dime of his own money. Rick Ross technically financed his own baby mama's multi-million-dollar Beverly Hills shopping spree. Every single Gucci bag, every Hermes purchase, and every single diamond piece bought next to 50 Cent was paid for using Rick Ross's own hard-earned music royalties. The psychological devastation of this realization has reportedly sent Rick Ross into a state of total, uncommunicative shock inside his Georgia compound. He didn't just get out-trolled. He got financially cannibalized by his own legal mistakes and his own family. But as this unbelievable revelation throws the entire music industry into a state of pure disbelief, an even more terrifying countdown has just begun. As we speak, a third leaked audio file is being uploaded to a private server, threatening to expose the exact conversation where the final signature was handed over. The trap is closing, the money is gone, and a major federal authority is now stepping into the frame. What happens to the promised land when the banks realize the boss doesn't even control his own royalties anymore? Stay locked in, because the next 48 hours are going to change hip-hop history forever. The revelation that Rick Ross effectively financed his own public humiliation sent cataclysmic shockwaves through the entertainment industry, fracturing the global hip-hop community into two fiercely divided camps. On one side, internet forums, Reddit threads, and TikTok comment sections have transformed into a chaotic digital coliseum praising 50 Cent's terrifying tactical brilliance. Fanatics are calling it the greatest chess move ever executed in the history of pop culture, arguing that 50 Cent has achieved god-tier status as a corporate assassin. Viral tweets are racking up hundreds of thousands of retweets by the minute, with users claiming that the sheer psychological genius required to turn an enemy's own hard-earned music royalties into luxury shopping bags for his ex-partner is utterly unparalleled. Commentators are laughing across the internet, stating that Ross spent his entire career screaming about being a financial mastermind, only to get completely outnegotiated and out-trolled by a man who didn't even have to spend a single dime of his own wealth to tear down his rival's legacy. On the flip side, an equally massive wave of intense backlash is rising against 50 Cent, with critics calling the stunt a grotesque, borderline illegal violation of human decency. Hundreds of thousands of Ross loyalists and neutral hip-hop purists are flooding social media, labeling the move as deeply toxic, desperate, and dangerous. They argue that weaponizing a co-parent and intentionally dragging family dynamics into a decades-old music industry grudge completely shatters the unwritten moral boundaries of hip-hop culture. Aggressive comments are demanding a total boycott of 50 Cent's upcoming television universe, calling him an obsessive bully who targets vulnerable family structures rather than fighting his battles cleanly in a recording studio. Think about it for a second. Is absolutely nothing sacred anymore in this industry? Or is an artist's family just cheap collateral damage for internet engagement? The digital war is spiraling so heavily out of control that major cultural commentators are openly expressing fear that this petty war could translate into real-world, physical retaliation between the two rival security details. Inside the corporate music industry, major label executives and high-profile entertainment lawyers are in a state of absolute, unmitigated panic. Every record label head from New York to Los Angeles is reportedly ordering immediate, emergency forensic audits of their own historical catalog distribution contracts, terrified that similar overlooked loophole clauses could exist in their own archives. The fact that 50 Cent successfully weaponized a dormant executive signature right has completely shaken the legal foundation of music ownership. Behind closed doors, elite moguls are privately calling it a terrifying precedent that changes the rules of celebrity conflict forever. Whispers are growing louder that several top-tier rap figures have reached out to Ross privately, desperately urging him to remain silent and handle the situation strictly through federal courts before the public mockery completely destroys his commercial value. Meanwhile, the real-world financial fallout for Maybach Music Group is turning catastrophic. Brand trust in Ross's luxury liquor ventures and franchise operations is rapidly plummeting, as major distribution channels are reportedly pausing current marketing campaigns to avoid toxic association. Rumors are circulating that a prominent global brand, which was in final negotiations for a multi-million-dollar partnership with Ross for his upcoming 2026 car show, has abruptly walked away from the table. But the internet hasn't seen anything yet. Just minutes ago, an official countdown clock appeared on a mysterious website, allegedly backed by G-Unit Film and Television, teasing a live, unedited global stream where Rick Ross's Baby Mama will reveal the absolute final truth. The entire world is holding its breath as the clock ticks closer to zero, and a shocking, untraceable update has just dropped from the courtroom doors that changes the entire endgame. If you thought the revelation of Rick Ross inadvertently financing his own public humiliation was the absolute climax of this warfare, brace yourselves, because the trap 50 Cent has laid goes infinitely deeper than a multi-million-dollar shopping spree on Rodeo Drive. The countdown clock ticking away on that mysterious G-Unit-backed website wasn't built to launch a television trailer. It was a countdown to a complete financial execution. Just minutes ago, a high-level corporate whistleblower leaked an unredacted copy of the actual contract signed behind closed doors in Beverly Hills. This document reveals a final twist so utterly devastating that it completely rewrites the power dynamic of the entire music industry. Rick Ross's Baby Mama didn't just sign a contract to star in a documentary series. She used her newly activated, dormant executive voting rights within the early Maybach Music Group corporate structure to execute a permanent, legal asset transfer. To shield his early wealth from aggressive tax liens and child support battles back in 2009, Ross had quietly listed her as a primary corporate officer and co-owner of the holding company that controls the master recording copyrights for the foundational MMG catalog. For over a decade, those rights sat untouched and forgotten. But during that Beverly Hills meeting, she legally signed over her controlling corporate voting shares directly to a private asset management firm entirely controlled by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. Let the absolute gravity of that sink in for a moment. 50 Cent did not just embarrass Rick Ross on Instagram. He legally seized control of his life's work. Because of this ironclad corporate transfer, 50 Cent now holds a massive, controlling legal stake in the master rights of early Maybach Music Group projects. The early hits that defined Ross's career, the foundational albums that launched Meek Mill and Whale, and the very catalog Ross used to flex his financial superiority are now legally generating revenue for G-Unit. The ultimate irony has been completed. The man who mocked 50 Cent for allegedly not owning his masters has just lost a massive piece of his own catalog to his worst enemy. Inside the Promised Land, the devastation is absolute. Insiders claim Ross's legal team is in complete despair, realizing that reversing a voluntary corporate asset transfer executed by a legal co-owner is an almost impossible uphill battle. Ross's brand is completely paralyzed. He is no longer the biggest boss. On paper, he is now practically an employee generating back-end wealth for the man who has spent 15 years trying to destroy him. But as the hip-hop community stands on the verge of absolute disbelief, the cliffhanger drops even further into darkness. As we speak, a breaking news alert has just flashed across major legal networks in Atlanta. The Georgia Department of Revenue, alongside a federal financial regulatory body, has just intercepted the transfer documents signed in Beverly Hills. They are claiming that this massive shift in catalog ownership exposes years of hidden offshore assets and undocumented revenue streams that Ross's camp never disclosed during his previous tax settlements. A federal emergency investigation has just been launched, and rumors are circulating that an asset freeze is currently being prepared for every single bank account tied to the Maybach music empire. The trap is entirely locked, the catalog is compromised, and the government is now at the gates of the Promised Land. An unverified audio snippet has just surfaced online, capturing what sounds like 50 Cent on an encrypted call, casually saying, "Tell Ross I said thanks for the catalog." The keys to the mansion are next. What happens in the next 24 hours will determine if Rick Ross loses his absolute freedom along with his entire fortune. The chessboard has been completely shattered. A historic empire is facing a total federal shutdown, and you cannot afford to miss a single second of what happens next. This is an absolute emergency for the Maybach empire. Now it's your turn to drop your thoughts in the comments below. Has 50 Cent officially executed the greatest checkmate in hip-hop history, or has he completely crossed a toxic line that family should never be a part of? Can the biggest boss ever recover from losing his own masters, or is the Promised Land about to be locked down forever? Smash that like button right now if your jaw is still on the floor, and hit subscribe with notifications turned on. We are tracking this federal asset investigation live as it develops, and you do not want to miss our next explosive update.